All writers, happy Monday. Welcome to your Monday morning Jumpstart. Hi, Ted. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope everybody's summer's going good.
Yeah. So, Ted, you're not swearing, but you are introducing a very new word to us, which is called VUCA, which reminds me of like vamonos. So tell us, what is VUCA? What does it stand for? Why are we bringing it to the people today?
Yeah, we're in very interesting times when it comes in, even without bringing in all that's going out in the world, when we're just talking about business and the economy and inflation and the market and all of this. There's a concept out there that we've used for years, particularly in leadership training, when talking about business development, talking about strategy, when talking about how to lead people and all that. And it's VUCA. It's V.U.C.A. and it stands for volatile, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And we are without a doubt in VUCA times. Mm-hmm. And so the reason I'm bringing this in very specifically is that, one, you have to recognize that you're in VUCA times, and business is not as usual and should not be as usual when we're in VUCA times. You need to, one, recognize we're in VUCA times, and then you need to start to pivot there. And so the first distinction that I want to bring up when I'm talking about VUCA is the uncertainty and ambiguity, right? Uncertainty, in my opinion, is we really don't know what's going to happen here. Mm-hmm. So if you were going to take, as it relates to business, the market or the economy related to jobs, right? What's going to happen with businesses, certain business sectors that you as a writer could be out there trying to solicit to be a client. Mm-hmm. That uncertainty can throw us into a tizzy, right? Uncertainty is a beast, right? Yes. What I'd also put to draw the distinction between uncertainty and ambiguity, people sometimes get confused. Ambiguity, in some instances, we actually have information about what could happen, but it's confusing, right? So now we get confused and we don't know what to do. And so when I think of VUCA times, I think it's really what I really want everybody to settle into is, yes, we're in VUCA times, but no, you should not be doing things as usual. Mm-hmm. Right now. You need to slow down and figure out where you need to pivot. And the first thing that I'd point out to people is that I'd like you to bring as much certainty into your business, into your writing career or your solopreneur journey as much as possible in these VUCA times, right? And that may be by the way of coming up with a different plan, being very methodical about the business sectors that you're going out to client. You're actually doing your market research and going, you know what, I know that this sector is doing well, and I know that they need somebody to redo the website or whatever it may be, and slow down and be very methodical about that. Mm. One way to bring certainty, I'll use myself, and this is a real-time example. We are in VUCA times. I feel it. Everybody that I coach is feeling it, and I feel it within my home, right? The uncertainty and not knowing. I came into the year, and I do want to point this out for everybody. Many of you came into the year or you started this writing journey or whatever it may be at any time during this year, and you came in with a certain level of goals and strategy. Well, so much of that is out the window right now. So in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I literally sat down at home and I restructured my financial goals for the year that served the thing. And then I also embedded worst case scenarios and then sat down with my wife and said, well, here would be the plan if things went flatlined or, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that brings a level of certainty into my thing. If I just go as unusual, those VUCA times could turn into really bad times for anybody. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to get preachy about this, but the main thing that I want people to grab here is that it's not that you don't know that we're in VUCA times, but as a business person, as a person trying to start a business or down the journey of starting a business, you're going to have to pivot a little bit. And some of it starts with bringing certainty into it, readjusting the strategy, and really settling into, we don't know how long we're going to be in these VUCA times. I mean, that's what every forecaster is saying. Like, we don't know when the market's going to turn around. We don't know what's going to happen to the labor market in the next year. The reason Jay, just to be clear, the reason I keep up bringing the labor market is that businesses might really get hurt. We hear the R word, the recession word. Some people that might have been your potential clients might not be in the in the hopper for you in 6 months.
I also think that knowing that we are in these times, there are a lot of companies and businesses and opportunities that thrive in these times, right? So your pivot must be shifting towards that and researching that. And look, we have a blueprint for it, right? Like have a look at what was done a few years ago and see, you know, what people did. Like I know we have like Jen Stevens and her husband in 2008, like her whole story is based around her husband got retrenched at the time, right? And so he had to lean on her and what could she do? And I think that operating without blinkers is huge, right? So I think that, you know, I know he doesn't really talk about it in this sense, but Stephen Covey talks about your circle of influence, right? And the further out you get, the more fear-based you're going to be. So the further in, the more certain you're going to be, which is what you're talking about. Like, what can I do, right? What can I handle? What can I do? What do I need to be doing? And I think that operating without blinkers is huge. I feel very comforted that for our writers, that there is in these times a lot of opportunity. Where they are might just shift, right? So you to have that awareness and to pay attention to what is going on, if you know what I mean. Like, I know it sounds so silly, but like, I know I hate watching the news, so that's not how I get information to be aware of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like I subscribe to certain newsletters that I trust, know, like, and trust, and that like I'm getting unbiased news, but still knowing what's going on with that out the doomsday attached to it, right? So I think get certain, look at where you're getting your information, and then what can you do with that information? And you know, and hey, look, you might even do this all, and all it does, Ted, is make you realize like you're in a great spot, right? Like that's all it might even end up being for you. But I think that slow. I like when you said slowing down. And another thing that I thought of while you were talking is that if you have current clients, right? If you have current, and I know in a few weeks we want to talk about relationships, but I remember you, Ted, telling us during the pandemic that the way businesses treat people during the pandemic is going to be remembered, and it's going to be lasting relationships for what happens afterwards, right? Like imagine if right now, and as a writer, you're just reaching out to say like, just, you know, I know there's a lot going on. Just wanted to check in, like, how are you doing? Like be like a real human to like another human. I think that there's an opportunity for a few things that we're going to be talking about in next week too, like vulnerability, relationships, openness, and just like getting all cards on the table. You know, I think that it's going to serve a lot of people really well as well.
You're right. There is a lot of opportunity, and this isn't, you know, I certainly don't bring this up to scare anybody, because I mean, it's not like we're running around with blinders on. You don't have to turn on the news to know that we're in VUCA times, right? But I also don't want us wandering around naive.
100%.
To say that we don't have to pivot and be very, you know, part of the reason VUCA in leadership trainings and stuff is brought up around strategy. So this is just about making sure that you're bringing certainty in, you have the right strategy during these times. And you're right, you might find out you're in a good spot, but even if you're in a good spot, you still shouldn't be doing business as usual. You should be doubling down on certain things.
Yeah.
You know,
at a spot. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Ted, I think so. Homework for this week: suss out where you're at, slow down, and then pivot if need to be, or create an action plan for what you need to be doing to get in.
Bring in some certainty. It's kind of in another very simple language. It's like control the controllables. You know,
Awesome. And then next week, we're going to be bringing in another acronym for everybody. We're going to be talking about SWOT next week. So join us then. Thank you, Ted.
Perfect.